You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You can't handle the truth!
Well, we're giving you the Michigan Sports Truth, the show that detects, exposes, and reveals actual and hidden facts, truth, research, and statistics about all the Detroit and Michigan sports teams that the mainstream media doesn't want you to know, whether fans like it or not. No junk, no entertainment, no homerism, no coddling, no pop culture, no opinions, no shilling, and no fluff. Head over to our website at michigansportstruth.weebly.com, follow us on Twitter at Michigan_Truth, and like our Facebook page, The Michigan Sports Truth. Also listen to us on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes. The Michigan Sports Truth podcast does not represent or defame any of the teams it covers. It only detects, exposes, and reveals honest, actual, and hidden truth, facts, and statistics about them.
This is a special report edition of the Michigan Sports Truth podcast. I'm Taylor Phillips. Flying solo as usual, or not as usual. Actually, I no longer do post games on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes. But this is a special report edition of the Michigan Sports Truth podcast, and we are getting an exclusive from three sources from Jeff Moss of the Detroit Sports Rag, which you can follow on Twitter at DetSportsRag. Like and share his Facebook page, DetroitSportsRag.com. Join his group, Detroit Sports Rag, all in one word. Check out his website. This is from three sources that Red Wings captain left wing forward Henrik Zetterberg will start the Red Wings 2018-2019 season on long-term injured reserve.
Oh, man!
And I've got a lot of details, lots and lots of details about that.
Holy jumping!
First off, the main reason why. Henrik Zetterberg is dealing with a back injury. Ouch. And nothing about his health is expected to change anytime in the future. The article reads a whole lot more. If Zetterberg had decided to just leave the NHL like longtime teammate Pavel Datsyuk, the Wings would have been on the hook for a recapture penalty of $4.3 million for the next 3 seasons. In layman's terms, Detroit's salary cap would have been artificially lowered by over $4 million due to NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman's CBA correction. Which penalizes franchises for attempting to circumvent the salary cap with ridiculous contract lengths in order to lower the annual salary cap hits. Zetterberg signed a 12-year deal in 2009 that was not set to expire until 2021. The contract was heavily front-loaded, with very little incentive for number 40, Henrik Zetterberg, to finish the contract. Of the $73 million deal, Zetterberg had already received almost $68 million. Zetterberg is scheduled to make $3.35 million this year and only $1 million in each of the following 2 seasons thereafter. According to multiple sources, Zetterberg has no intention to play again. And normally this cannot be a retirement because of the recapture penalty, but that's clearly what this is. His back injury is forcing him to retire earlier than when he expects. Zetterberg said to the media, quote, "The only reason we signed such a long contract back in 2009 was because of the cap. It's pretty obvious That was actually Holland. Oh, yeah. That was actually Zetterberg. It's pretty obvious you try to fool the system. In reality, I think I have 2 years left. I don't think I will play through the 2020-2021 season, 2020-2021 season. First of all, and then he added, quote, first of all, it was not the full story that came out. I've got 4 more years. Actually, 3 now. Actually, this was back from last year. I hope I can play 4 more years. That is my goal, but I also know that I have gone through a few things with my body, especially my back, and even though the last few years have been good, you never know. The same type, unquote, the same type of innuendo swirled last year when former Red Wing center Marian Hossa retired due to a skin condition that wouldn't allow him to play because he couldn't wear hockey equipment any longer. The NHL eventually investigated that situation and agreed that Chicago was within their rights to place Hossa on long-term injury reserve instead of suffering their own prohibitive penalty. And then last detail, the next Red Wings captain is in question. The article reads, could the Red Wings start without a captain, or could Dylan Larkin wear the C on his jersey? We don't know. It could be either Nicholas Kronwall or Justin Applicator. It could be anybody on the team. It's not going to cut it. So, just to give credit to Jeff Moss of the Detroit Sports Rag, again, you can follow him on Twitter at DeadSportsRag. And you can follow us on Twitter at Michigan_Truth. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Personally, I am Taylor Phillips. Before I sign off, I want to remind everyone to share this podcast, this episode, and our entire podcast on social media and have their friends share that as well, because I want to tell them that the Michigan Sports Truth podcast is in search of a wider local audience that is fans of sports. So please spread the word about the Michigan Sports Truth podcast on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes, its Facebook page, and its Twitter handle at Michigan_Truth, also on Periscope. Again, I'm Taylor Phillips. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Thanks very much for listening, downloading, and sharing. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
The Michigan Sports Truth podcast does not represent or defame any of the teams it covers. It only detects, exposes, and reveals honest, actual, and hidden truth, facts, and statistics about them.
Mission complete.